is going on, YouTube? It is your boy Arrows here, and we are here and we are talking about the Pittsburgh Regional Championships that just happened this past weekend. I know I'm a little late recording my response to this because the event happened on Saturday, and it is now Sunday is now Wednesday, but boy has been working like a lot. So gotta work to make the money to buy the cards and pay the bills to have a house to store the cards. So what a regional weekend it was. I was able to watch all of the Sunday. Oh my God, there was some just fantastic Pokemon being played. There's just something about watching a high level Pokemon, like at its core compared to other card games like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! And I don't really know the other card. I don't really know how intricate the other card games are at the top competitive levels. I don't really watch them, but like, even though it on paper it looks like a much more simplistic card game compared to those other card games, there's like little intricacies in the gameplay and your deck building that are just fantastic. In one of the matches, somebody kept using their opponent's Spikemuth Gym. They don't have any Marnie's Pokemon in their hand, but they were using it to shuffle their deck to get out of being Iono'd. Like, stuff like that is top tier. I love watching little things like that. But there was a lot of Gardevoir at this event. So this is how the event breakdown went. We had 91 Goldengos. This is like Goldengo and Goldengo Joltik box. 90 Dragapults, of course, all the variants of Dragapult that was played. We had 70 Dusknoir Dragapult, 13 Dragapult, and 7 Dragapult Charizard. Really excited to see that people are still trying that deck. I think it still has potential and can hit really, really hard and really, really fast, both in the early game and the late game. Really, really good deck. 82 Gardevoir, 53 basic Gardevoir without Jellicent, and 29 Gardevoir Jellicent hybrids. I would like to know, what do you think is the better deck? The Gardevoir deck, the basic one, or the Gardevoir Jellicent deck, which comes with an extra layer of gameplay because it is able to lock your opponent down with Jellicent EX. We're going to talk about Jellicent EX as we go over the deck lists. We have 51 Raging Bolt, 26 Charizards, 20 Charizard Pidgeot, 3 Charizard Noctowl, 3 Charizard Dragapult, 25 Terrabox, 23 Joltik Box, 17 Marnie's Grimmsnarl, 16 Flareon, 13 Conkeldurr. I love that. That's my favorite number. People are on the Conkeldurr, and I am a fan of it. 9 Zoroark, 9 Crustle, 9 Ethan's Typhlosion, 6 Ho-Oh Armarouge, 3 Ogerpon box. Me and my friends were just joking about just running a deck with all the Ogerpons. It makes me very happy that it's an actual deck. 3 Iron Thorns, 3 Roaring Moon, 2 Blissies. We love that. 2 Hop Zacian. Really excited to see that deck is still seeing representation. 1 Melodic, 1 Miraidon, 1 Cynthia's Garchomp. This deck is going to get insane in the next set. Keep an eye out for it. 1 Ceruledge, 1 Toedscruel Ogerpon, 1 Archelodon, 1 Palafin. So very interesting set of decks at the regionals this weekend. But we are going to look at the top 16 decks and how that played out. Now, obviously, things are a little different. With you have your aesthetic, your, what is it they called it? Asymmetrical top now because of the extra round. But we're not going to talk about that. We're just here to talk about decks, and we are going to talk about decks. We're not going to talk about anything else from that weekend but the decks. But I will point out, I do want to know what you guys think about the game loss that Abon Ahmed got handed to. If you guys do not know, after his top 4 match with Calvin Connor, Abon Ahmed, the same Abon Ahmed who won the Monterey Regionals just the weekend before the Pittsburgh one, he threw his headset on the table. He was excited. He was like 1 game away from winning back-to-back regionals. Who wouldn't be excited about that? And when he threw it, he knocked one of his Monkey Dories over onto the Calvin side of the field. Obviously, they were talking, they were going over the amazing game they just had, and it was an amazing game. And Calvin accidentally picked up his Abon's Monkey Dory. They noticed it in the start, probably about a quarter way into the final match, that Abon was only playing with a 59 card deck. That is how it goes. The rules are pretty strict on that sort of thing. It is a game loss. Liam Halliburton would go on to win the Pittsburgh Regionals with his undefeated Ends Zoroark deck. What a fantastic deck it is. We're going to look at that one first. This is Ends Zoroark. I would like to point out that this deck to buy on TCG Player is only $66.31. One of my favorite things about Pokemon is how comparatively cheap the top decks are compared to other games. I've always been a huge fan of that, but enough of that. That is a video for a different day. We are running 4 Ends of Zorua. It has Scratch. It has an adorable picture. We love Zorua. We love N. Fantastic. 4 copies of Ends Zoroark EX. This card is amazing. I love Pokemon. I have played Pokemon competitively in almost all of the eras. Not as competitively as I have wanted to, but I'm really looking forward to changing that this season. So, Ends Zoroark is amazing. For 280, it's got 280 HP, 2 retreat, weakness to grass. That could actually be a big thing coming on with Venusaur coming into the format, Mega Venusaur coming into the format next set. We'll have to see how it works out. For 2 energies, Night Joker copies the attack of one of your benched Ends Pokemon and uses it as this attack. Fantastic. We're running 2 copies of Ends Reshiram. We'll talk about that in just 1 second. But Ends Zoroark EX also comes with the amazing ability Trade. You must discard a card from your hand in order to use this ability. Draw 2 cards. You guys remember Golisopod Zoroark? You guys remember Lycanroc Zoroark? You guys remember Zoroark? Insert Zoroark here. Zoroark EX was, GX was an amazing card with a ton of amazing synergies, and I'm really excited that this card is back. I actually want to pick up this deck because I love Zoroark. I was a huge Zoroark fan during its GX era with Golisopod. Fantastic deck. So I definitely want to play this deck going forward. It's a bunch of stuff I'm looking for when I go away to a league challenge this weekend. We'll talk about that in a second, but not about me. It's about these amazing players. This deck was such a good pick because of the vast amount of Zoroark. Not Zoroark, sorry. The vast amount of Gardevoir. This deck has a very, very good matchup against Gardevoir because this ability, this ability to copy Virtuous Flame KOs, I believe. We'll have to bring up a Gardevoir EX. I think it KOs. Yes, this ability, this attack, Night Joker, using Virtuous Flame will KO a Gardevoir EX with its Dark Weakness, which is fantastic. It will run through the entirety of the deck, and we love that. We want to see that. Gardevoir is arguably the best deck in the format. I feel like Gardevoir and Dragapult sit right here, just like one's just a little bit better than the other because it has a better matchup into the one. Gardevoir has a phenomenal matchup into Dragapult, and I think that makes Gardevoir just a little bit better than Dragapult. But Ends Zoroark really, really punishes Gardevoir players, being able to easily one-shot them, hopefully before your opponent can even get off the ground. And because you run so little necessary Pokemon tools in the deck, you are able to tech out your deck a lot for the other matchups that you might not, on paper, have such a good matchup against. And Liam did this flawlessly using Toad School and Toad Scroll. I love this guy. Look at him. He's so happy. Toad School doesn't matter, but Toad Scroll has the ability Slime Mold Colony. This is an amazing ability. Cards in your opponent's discard pile cannot be put into their hand by an effect of your opponent's abilities or trainer cards. Goldengo needs to get those excess energies out of the discard pile after it has used a Make It Rain. With this on the field, cannot do that. I'm trying to think about other cards that put things back from your discard pile. Night Stretcher cannot get you cards back. Super Rod will still work. But there's just a ton of cards that will not let you. Energy Retrieval. Superior Energy Retrieval. Max Rod, if you see anybody playing that. They will not get you those cards that you need out of your discard pile. You're going to have to use Super Rods to get them back in and get them out some other way. This is a really good card that shuts down a lot of amazing cards in this format. We've talked about Ends Reshiram. You're never going to attack with this thing, but it's amazing. It's a great card. Even if you were able to attack with this thing, it's a really good card. Powerful Rage does 20 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon, and then Virtuous Flame for 2 fire, 1 lightning, 1 colorless does 170. We have our 2 copies of Monkey Dory to put our damage across the board, put it back on our opponent's Pokemon, set up some really niche KOs that we might not be able to get against things that are not weak to our end Zoroark. Pecharon EX is a really good card in this deck because it enables us to get out of cards that would lock us in the active position, like Maractus or Wellspring Mask Ogerpon EX. Once during your turn, you may search one of your benched dark Pokemon, except for Pecharon EX, with your active Pokemon, and the darkness Pokemon you put up there is poisoned. So you can bring out your end Zoroark if your opponent's trying to lock you into that active spot, lock something else like a Monkey Dory or like a Maractus or like a Cleffa into that active spot so they can get their board going. You can play this Pecharon, bring your Zoroark active, and start swinging. Pheasantipity is arguably one of the best support Pokemon in the game for the TCG. Its Flip the Script ability is insane, allowing you to draw 3 cards if one of your Pokemon were knocked out on your opponent's turn. Cleffa is just a really good pivot Pokemon with its free retreat and lets us draw 7 cards. So we have 7 in our hand. This is a really solid opener after we've played a bunch of stuff. Our opponent's probably not going to be able to knock it out on their second turn, so we are able to maybe get a couple of these off before we're able to start swinging. Maractus keeps our opponent's Pokemon they might not want in the active slot while we can build up our stuff. 6 Dark Energy. You only need 2 for the Night Joker, and you're probably only going to need like 2, maybe 3 and Zoroark, but we are, of course, running Night Stretcher. We're running Super Rod to get that stuff back into our deck. For our trainers, we're running 3 copies of Serrano. I love this card. I think this is the perfect deck for this because you are running such a low amount of EXs that one of these going off is going to be super helpful for you. It lets you search your deck for up to 3 Pokemon EX and put them into your hand and then shuffle your deck. 3 copies of Iono. You guys have been watching Pokemon videos. You guys have heard me talk about Iono before. Each player shuffles their hand, puts it on the bottom of their deck, draws cards equal to the number of their prizes. Hilda is a fantastic card for this deck because it'll let you search out any of your evolutions and your energy, and that's just really good. One of these will get you a Toedscool if you have a Toedscool or a Zoroark, and it'll always get you a Dark Energy so you are able to be going off with your Pokemon when you're ready to. 2 Boss's Orders. This is really good for KOing threats. Professor Turo's Scenario. This is another really great get-out-of-jail-free card if you've been locked into the active spot by a Maractus or a Wellspring Mask Ogerpon. 4 Buddy Buddy Poffins, with the exception of the Monkey Dory and the EXs and the Maractus. This will get you all of your Pokemon, which is fantastic. 2 Nest Balls for everything else. 2 Super Rod. Really good to recycle your Toedscool and Toedscool if they get KO'd by Goldengo, because you need these active because Goldengo can very easily one-shot this for only 6 energies, and it will not take a return knockout with the Virtuous Flame. Ends PP up. This is essentially a patch, Wonder Patch, Dark Patch, Aqua Patch for your Ends Pokemon. You can attach a basic energy from your discard pile to one of your benched Ends Pokemon. Powering up a second Zoroark is always good. 2 Counter Catcher. If you find yourself falling behind, this will let you score some clutch knockouts, put yourself back ahead. Night Stretcher, Energy Switch. Obviously, we're putting energy on the bench with our Ends PP up, so why wouldn't we want to switch to the active Pokemon if we need to? 1 Pal Pad, 1 Secret Box. Arguably the best A-Spec in the game right now, unless you're playing A-Specs that are specific to what you want to do with your deck. Like, I would not play Secret Bolt, Boxin, Raging Bolt more than likely. I would always play that Prime Catcher because we want those knockouts. I would not play Secret Boxin Goldengo, unless it's like maybe the Joltik Goldengo, but not in regular Goldengo because we want that Energy Search Pro. You can only use this card if you discard 3 other cards from your hand, search your deck for a supporter, a stadium, an item, and a tool. Just a really good card. 2 Air Balloons, giving your stuff free retreat. 1 Binding Mochi. This works very well with the Pecharon. The Pokemon that you put up is going to be poisoned. So if you are running a 1 Binding Mochi, you can attach it, and your attacks do 40 more damage if your opponent's Pokemon is poisoned. If your Pokemon poisoned. 2 Artisan, 2 Team Rocket's Watchtower. Colorless Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponents have no abilities. This is a great tech card against Terrabox. This is a great tech card against Raging Bolt Ogerpon. This is a great tech card against anything that runs the Noctowl engine, because you are going to be able to shut down those abilities from being played. All those, that Noctowl specifically is a key card for getting you what you need. Fan Rotom gets you into that. Ditto lets you really work yourself around with stuff. This is just a really good way of shutting down that deck, which also I feel like has a really good matchup into this deck. And we have our second and third place deck are pretty much the same. I'm going to assume the same thing for our... Yeah, more or less the same thing. There's not enough difference to really talk about them all separately. So we will look at Abon Ahmed's deck. I really like the addition of Jellicent to this deck. I think it gives Gardevoir another great way of maybe working around some of its bad matchups. Being able to turn off items and tools is always really good. We have 3 Ralts, 2 Kirlias, 2 Gardevoirs, 3 Monkeydories, 2 Frillish, and 1 Jellicent EX. Jellicent EX has the ability Oceanic Curse. When it's in the active spot, your opponent cannot play any items or tools from their hand. Not a lot of decks run a heavy count of boss orders. It's usually only 1 or 2, unless they're decks that are designed to take KOs every turn, like Goldango, Raging Bolt. So chances are it's going to be really hard for your opponent to get this Jellicent out of the active spot. And you're going to be able to sit there and lock them out of not just items, but tools as well. And then for 1 Psychic and 1 Colors, Power Press does 80 damage. But if there's 2 extra energies attached to it, which is very easy with Gardevoir's Psychic Embrace, attaching extra energy from your discard pile, then you do an additional 80 damage. So really great card, really nice addition to this deck. The Frillish itself is also a really good opener if you're going second, because it has Oceanic Gloom, an attack that does 20 damage for 1 Psychic Energy, and during your opponent's next turn, they cannot play any items from them. And we have our classic Gardevoir, Screamtail, Lily's Clefairy, Pheasantipity, and Mew. Mew is just a great tech for the Dragapult match, because you can use it to copy Dragapult's Phantom Dive. It'll KO Dragapult if you have Lily's Clefairy on the field, because it'll do 400. And then you'll be able to spread your 6 damage like normal. Just a really good tech. 4 Iono, 3 Research, 3 Arven. I think this is the best way to do this set of 4 lines. I see some decks running 4 Iono, 4 Research, 2 Arven, but I really feel like this card is your clutch first turn supporter, because it's going to get you into a lot of your stuff. Arven is a really strong opener for you because it opens up your deck. This gets you into that, which gets you into whatever you want. If this is prized, this gets you into... This deck's not running Buddy Poffin. Wild. This gets you into Nest Balls and gets you working around stuff. Just a really, really good card. Research, I find if you open multiples of it, it's really bad. Iono, it's at 4, I think is perfect for this deck. 4 Ultra Balls, you're probably wondering why you're not running Buddy Poffins. Well, because Ultra Balls, you can discard Psychic Energies, and you can constantly have energies in the discard pile for Gardevoir. 3 Earthen Vessels, again, you can get energies going really quickly. 2 Night Stretchers, 2 Rare Candy, 2 Nest Balls, 2 Counter Catchers, 1 Super Rod, 1 Secret Box, 1 Technical Machine Evolution, 1 Bravery Charm, 1 Technical Machine De-Evolution, 1 Air Balloon, and 2 Artisan. De-Evolution, I feel it doesn't have as much power in Gardevoir as it does in Marnie's Grimmsnarl, but it's still definitely worth the one of. Being able to de-evolve each of your opponent's evolved Pokemon by putting the highest stages back in your hand might not net you the same amount of prizes as just KOing the Pokemon would, but it is going to interrupt your opponent's board so much more. So, an example is not at Pittsburgh, but at Frankfurt. So 2 weekends ago, I was watching a matchup between Dragapult and Marnie's Grimmsnarl. And a well-timed de-evolution took the Grimmsnarl player out of a not very good situation and pretty much gave them the game. So I feel like it has a lot more utility in that deck because you are putting more damage counters on your opponent's side of the field, but it's still really good in here as well. Bravery Charm, we love giving our Pokemon extra HP, especially the Clefairy and the Mew, because then it lets them avoid being KO'd by Dragapult. Air Balloon for free retreat, and we have our 2 copies of Artisan. Alvin Connor made the top 4 with the just pure Gardevoir build, no Jellicent EX. I would like to know what you guys think is the better build of Gardevoir right now. There was 53 Gardevoir builds as opposed to the 29 Gardevoir Jellicents, but almost the entirety of the top 16 was for Gardevoir was Gardevoir Jellicent, which I personally think is the better build, but you cannot fault regular Gardevoir. It still has a ton of potential. And so Calvin's build is running 4 Monkey Dory. We love Monkey Dory. 3 Ralts, 2 Curlia, 2 Gardevoir, and then your Lilith Clefairy, Mew, Pheasantipity, and Screamtail. He is running a 4-4-2 for only 2 of the Arvins, 4 Research, and 4 Iono. 4 Ultra Ball, 3 Earthen Vessel, 2 Nest Ball, 2 Candy, 2 Night Stretcher, 2 Counter Catcher, 1 Secret Box, 1 Super Rod, 2 Technical Machine Evolutions, no de-evolution, opting for the 2nd Bravery Charm, which honestly, I personally feel for Gardevoir is a much better option because you want to be able to keep these 2 protected from Dragapult as easy as you can. Yes, they enable easy one-shots of Dragapult, especially the Clefairy, but they have less than 200 HP, so they are going to get knocked out in one shot by another Dragapult. So I think having 2 Bravery Charms is really good for this matchup. All right. What else do we have? Goldango came in the top cut. 2 Goldangos, a Goldango Joltik box, and a pure Goldango. This deck has such KO power. And I feel like going into the Mega Evolution format, this could be a really strong deck going forward, as it is enabling shorter games because you can easily KO these Mega Pokemon with Goldango, meaning you only need to KO 2 Pokemon to win the game as opposed to KOing 3 or more. We have 2 Gimmighoul with Minor Errand Running lets you search your deck for 2 energies, add them to your hand. 1 Gimmighoul with Call for Family, and 1 Gimmighoul with Continuous Coin Toss. I don't really think the Gimmighouls matter, but I do think that if you're going to run multiples of 1, this is definitely the one to do it with. 4 Goldango EX with its coin bonus ability, you get to draw a card, and then if Goldango is in the active slot, you can draw another card. And it's not once, you cannot activate 1 coin bonus a turn. You can use it per Goldango, so if you have ones on the bench, you can also use them to draw cards there as well. 1 of the Goldango from Surging Sparks with its attack Strike at Rich for 1 steal. If it evolved from a Gimmighoul this turn, it does 90 more damage. 2 Genesect. I really think that Genesect is like the key to giving you a good out of Trainer Lock because it is an ability that lets you search for your evolutions. It's going to get you Goldangos, which is fantastic. Then we have 1 Togepi, 1 Togekiss. This person is playing Piper's build from the Worlds. Pretty sure it is almost the exact same build. 1 Monkey Dory, because if you have the ability to run a Monkey Dory, you might as well. Moving damage is always good. Enables Goldango to take some KOs for a little bit less energy discarding than what he would need to. And of course, Pheasantipity. We talked about Pheasantipity. Energies, we have 3 Metal, 2 Lightning, 1 of each other type. For trainer supporters, we have Cypher Maniacs, Code Breaking. These 2 were literally made for each other. You can look at your deck, take 2 cards, put them on top of your deck, and then Goldango will let you draw those 2 cards if it's in the active spot. Arvin is just another great first turn supporter because it opens up everything you need to get going. 3 Bosses Orders, I've said it earlier. Most decks are only running 2, but if you are playing in this deck that can almost guaranteed KOs whenever needed, why not run the 3rd one? Precituro Scenario is another one of those get out of jail free cards. If your opponent brings something up you don't want up and they make it so you can't retreat, you can use this to get it out of the active slot and keep going. 4 Buddy Buddy Poffins, 4 Superior Energy Retrieval. Discard 2 cards from your hand, put 4 basic energies back into your hand. If you can't choose the card that you discard. So you discarded an energy and you have 3, you only get 3 back. You don't get 4. 3 Nest, 1 Ultra. Ultra Ball is not as necessary here because you have your Genesect searching out a lot of your evolutions, and you have your combination of Nest Ball and Buddy Buddy Poffin getting the rest. 1 Night Stretcher. You really only need it, one of them for like those clutch KOs when you need that, just that 1 extra energy back. 1 Energy Search Pro, 1 Counter Catcher, because you never know when you're going to be behind. 1 Rare Candy, obviously just in here for the Togepi and the Togekiss. 1 Earthen Vessel, get you more energies. Pool Scrapper. Honestly, this is just a great card. I'm very happy it's back. 3 Air Balloons, because you need to have free retreat in here, because you need to get these out of the active spot. You need to get this out of the active spot without being able to attach your energy, because you need your energy to do mass damage with your Goldengo. 2 Levencia. Levencia, Superior Energy Retrieval, and Night Stretcher really help you load up at least 7 energies to swing at really hard at your opponent all the time. That's why we're running the 2 Lightning Energies. Levencia is a stadium. Says during each player's turn, that player may put up to 2 basic Lightning Energies from their discard pile into their hand. Really good card. The Dusknoir Dragapults, we had 4 of them in our top 16. They are more of the slow-paced Dragapult decks. None of the Rare Candy Tour decks made the top 16, which I think is a crazy good deck. It gives the already one of the best decks in the format, makes it faster. But that's not taking away from the Dragapult Dusknoir build, which is still really, really good without the candies. We have our 4 Dreepy, 4 Dracloak, 4 Dragapult EX. Honestly, one of the best attacks in the game. Phantom Dive does a straight 200 for a Psychic and a Fire, and then put 6 damage counters on your opponent's side of the field in any way you like. Bench Pokemon in any way you like. 2 Dusclaw, 2 Dusclops, 2 Dusknoirs. This combined with this sets up some really clutch knockouts. 2 Badoo, because being able to slow down your opponent is very, very important in the early games here, because you're not playing the Rare Candy build. So you need to be able to stop your opponent from really playing a lot of their items, so you can slowly build up your Dracloaks, use their abilities, and then evolve into Dragapults when you need to. Monkey Dory for 1. I am actually surprised. A lot of the other builds are running more Monkey Dories. I actually didn't look at the other top builds, but 1 Monkey Dory is just really crazy to me, because you've seen other versions of this deck running more than 1. But hey, it took them to the top 16. I'm not going to question it. 1 Latias EX, 1 Pheasantipity EX, 1 Halucha. This is just another great way of getting damage on your opponent's side of the field to do some shenanigans with. 1 Shaman. This is the tech card that saves you from the Terra Box. Shaman has the Flower Curtain ability, prevent all damage done to your bench Pokemon that don't have a rule box by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So this will stop all of your little guys from taking hits, and it'll stop KOs on some of your smaller guys, specifically from Wellspring Mask Ogerpon. I was almost going to say Monkey Dory, but Monkey Dory doesn't deal damage, it places damage. And 1 Blood Moon Ursaluna, because this is just a really good cleanup card. Depending on your matchup, if you're behind, which you more than likely will be, its attacks cost less, and you come in and you hit something really, really hard. 4 Research, 4 Iono, perfect for this deck. 2 Boss's Orders, 2 Hilda. Boss's Orders is really only in here not to score clutch KOs, but to set you up for multiple KOs. You're putting so many damage counters on your opponent's side of the field with some nice shenanigans on maybe things that Dragapult can't knock out in 1 hit, but Dragapult won't get knocked out in return. You can Boss's Orders, move things around, take as many KOs in a turn as possible. Really good card. Hilda, again, another deck that's running a low energy count. Hilda is going to get you the energies you need at a time. I did not mention it in the Ends Zoroark part of this video, because it was only going to fetch you dark energies. Hilda does not say search your deck for a basic energy and an evolution Pokemon. It says search your deck for an evolution Pokemon and an energy. So Hilda will get you Neo Upper. Hilda will get you Luminous. And that makes it really, really good. 1 Brock Scouting, you search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon or 1 evolution Pokemon and reveal them, put them in your hand. So again, just another great way of getting your evolutions out, your Dracoloaks out, so you can start Recon Directive to get into all what you need when you need it, and then evolve into the Dragapults when you need to. 1 Professor Turo Scenario, we talked about that before. 4 Ultra Balls, 4 Buddy Buddy Poffins, 3 Counter Catchers. This is a slower building version of this deck, so you are going to lose some Pokemon in the process. This is going to enable you to, I like the boss's orders, do some clutch KOs of multiple Pokemon in the turn. Really good card. 2 Night Stretcher, 1 Nest Ball, 1 Jamming Tower. This shuts off Evolution. This shuts off Air Balloon. This shuts off Bravery Charm, which greatly increases your Gardevoir matchup. And of course, we have our 3 Luminous, 2 Psychic, 1 Fire, 1 Neo Upper. This is Rainbow Energy if you don't have another special energy attached. And this is double Rainbow Energy, more or less. But it can only be attached to a Stage 2 Pokemon. Talk to all the who's. Then we have Alex Shemansky running Terrabox. This deck is, well, it is what it is. It's a box deck. It has everything you need for any scenario. So it relies very heavily on your Terra Pokemon, because you have a lot of things that do crazy things when you have Terra Pokemon. We have our 3 Hoot Hoots with 70 HP, our 1 Hoot Hoot with 80 HP. I should have looked for Hoot Hoots when I was down there too. Son of a monk. Sorry, just talking to myself. 2 Fan Rotom. This card opens up your deck for you from the Pokemon aspect, whereas Arvin opens up the entirety of your deck. This deck, when it's your first turn, you can search your deck for up to 3 Pokemon with a 100 HP, 3 colors Pokemon with 100 HP or less, reveal them and put them in your hand. Get your Hoot Hoots, get your Noctowl, get your Ditto. Really good card. Just a really good, and get you Eevee in this build. Yeah, just a really good card. 2 Wellspring Mask Ogerpon EX. This is a really good card. This helps you out in a lot of your matchups. For 1 energy, has Sob that does 20. And then for a water and 2 colors, Torrential Pump will do 100. And then it will also do 120 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon if you shuffle 3 energies attached to the Wellspring Mask Ogerpon back into your deck. Really good. Cleans up some early KOs, especially since you can have this going as early as your first attacking turn. With our Teal Mask Ogerpon as well as Crispin, you can easily get this going on your first turn and take out a couple of Dreepies. You can take out a bunch of your opponent's setup Pokemon. Just a really good card. 1 Eevee. This has the boosted evolution ability. As long as this Pokemon is in the active position, it can evolve during your first turn or the turn you play it. You're, of course, going to be evolving into our Flareon EX or our Leafeon EX. Flareon has Burning Charge for 130 for a fire and a colorless. You can search your deck for the 2 basic energy cards and attach them to one of your Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. And then if you ever get the chance to use it, Carnelian does 280 HP, but during your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack, and that is for a fire, water, and a thunder. Leafeon EX is another fantastic attacker. For 1 grass and a colorless, Verdant Storm does 60 damage times the number of energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. So if you've gone crazy, if you've gotten a bunch of energy out with Flareon, and you can Night Stretcher the Eevee back, put it on your bench, and evolve it into Leafeon if you put it in the active spot. And then you're ready to go deal a bunch of damage in the late game as well. We have 1 Ditto. This has the Transformative Start ability. Once at the start of your turn, not at the start of your turn, during your first turn, if this Pokemon's in the active spot. I was thinking of a different card. You may search your deck and choose a basic Pokemon you find there and switch it with the Ditto and all cards attached to it. So the Ditto goes to this card pile. New basic Pokemon comes out in the active spot. Card really sets you up for whatever you need. 1 Latias EX, 1 Fez, 1 Iron Bundle. This has the Hyper Blower ability. You force your opponent to switch one of their bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon. Blood Moon Earth Luna is just really good in a deck like this because your opponent doesn't have to take as many prizes. We do have ways to attach multiple energy on a turn, so just card. Mew EX and Lily's Clefairy EX for our Dragapult matchup. Of course, these two cards will KO Dragapult pretty fast, especially in the case of Mew. It'll KO Dragapult and allow you to place those damage counters, which is always good. We have Teal Mask Ogerpon. Just another way of accelerating energy, which you can then use various ways to move that energy around as you need. Card. Pikachu EX is a strong hitter. It'll absorb a hit with its Resolute Heart ability. If this Pokemon has full HP and it gets knocked out by an attack, it will stay alive with 10 HP. Then it has Topaz Bolt for a Grass, a Lightning, and a Steel. It'll do 300 damage. Again, you can attach an extra Grass energy a turn if you have a Teal Mask. You can Crispin a Lightning energy onto it, get a Metal energy to your hand, and then attach it to that, and you're swinging for 300. This is a really, really good card. Going into our trainers, we have 4 Crispin. You can search your deck for up to 2 basic energies of different types. Attach one to one of your Pokemon and put the other one in your hand. Shuffle your deck. 2 Boss's Orders. Again, you can set up really cheeky KOs with this Ogerpon or other things as well. Professor Scenario, we talked about that. Get a jail free card if you're stuck in the active spot and you keep getting clutched there or sobbed there. 1 Professor's Research. I actually like only having this one because we are running a lot of cards that we want to keep in our hand. And running more than that would mean we have to discard stuff that we might not want to discard. 4 Nest, 3 Ultra, 2 Energy Switch because you're attaching energy on your bench. So it's really important that we move all that around. 1 Earthen Vessel, 1 Night Stretcher, 1 Super Rod, 1 Terra Orb. Just let you search your deck for a Terra Pokemon, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. 1 Buddy Poffin, just here for your Hoots and your Eevee. And your Fan Rotom. Obviously, we're not going to get Ditto with that because we need Fan Rotom. 1 Sparkling Crystal. This is the ace pack of choice for this deck. When your Terra Pokemon uses an attack that this card is attached to, it costs 1 less. So you are using Burning Charge for 1 fire, using Burning Storm for one grass. You're using this one. You're using Torrential Pump for 2, which is fantastic. Then we have our Air Balloon, our Area Zero under depths of 2, and 1 Gravity Mountain. This is a really good card because it lowers the HP of Stage 2 Pokemon by 30. Gardevoir would go down to 280, 290 on Dragapult. It makes them a lot easier to KO. We have 4 Grass because obviously we're running our Ogerpon. 1 Psychic, 1 Water, 1 Lightning, 1 Metal, 1 Fire. It's a really solid deck. Just an answer for everything deck as long as you keep the energy flow going. And our last 2 decks in the top 16 we're going to talk about are Marnie's Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl Frostlass, sorry, might be. This deck is in my opinion, the deck for TM, for Technical Machine De-Evolution, because your Frostlasses and Monkey Dories are going to be putting so much damage on your opponent's side of the field that you are just going to be able to play your De-Evolution, de-evolve a bunch, and gain a lot of prizes. We're running 4 Monkey Dories, because in this deck you need to, I think. 3 Marnie's Impidimp, 2 Marnie's Morgrim, 2 Marnie's Grimmsnarl, 2 Snorunt, 2 Frostlass. Frostlass has the ability of Freezing Shroud. During Pokemon Checkup, put 1 damage counter on each Pokemon that has an ability, both yours and your opponent's. But you're going to be moving that damage off of your guys onto your opponent's guys, so you're going to be putting more damage on your opponent's side of the field. Grimmsnarl comes with the Punk Up ability, which when you evolve it from one of your Pokemon, you can search your deck for up to 5 basic Dark Energies and attach them to your Marnie's Pokemon in any way you like. So we're of course only running 8 energy. We have our Blood Moon Ursaluna because you can run it, you're running it. 1 Shaman to prevent damage being done to our bench guys. Specifically, we don't want these Frostlasses taken out by Torrential Pumps or anything else that does bench damage. Baby Raging Bolt in Raging Bolt decks. We have our Maractus because we want to keep our opponent as locked in the active slot as we can. 4 Iono, 4 Arven. This is perfect for this deck. You want to be able to open with this because you want to Potentially have 2 Frost Lasses out at the end of your first turn if you're going second, because you're going to be able to start piling those damage counters on really quickly. Where was I? Yes, Arvin. 2 Boss's Orders, 2 Research. Boss's Orders is like it is in Dragapult. It sets up cheeky potential multiple KOs in a turn, especially since you're putting so much damage potentially on your opponent's side of the field. Fantastic. 2 Professor's Research, 2 Counter Catcher, 2 Night Stretcher, 2 Buddy Buddy, 2 Nest Ball, 2 Candy, 1 Energy Switch, 1 Energy Search. I actually really like Energy Search. I'll run any deck that runs Energy Search, I'm down for. 1 Super Rod, 1 Ultra Ball, 1 Secret Box, 2 Technical Machine Evolution, 1 Technical Machine De-Evolution, Air Balloon. Spike Mutt Gym lets you search your deck for a Marnie's Pokemon and add it to your hand. Just really good at getting out your Pokemon, filling up your bench, and 1 Artisan. Pretty cut and paste Marnie's Frostlass Grimmsnarl deck. I love the idea of the Boss Order setting up a lot of cheeky KOs that you might not get normally. I love Energy Switch because you can pile on a bunch of energies to your Marnie's Pokemon and then Energy Switch one off to a Monkey Dory and start spreading damage like that. So just a lot of utility out of the Energy Switch in this deck. And the last deck we're going to talk about in the top 16 is Joltik Box Goldango. Now, this differs from regular Goldango because it has a much more, I don't want to call it a much more aggressive early game, but I feel it has a much stronger early game because you can use Joltik's Jolting Charge attack to pile a bunch of energies onto an Iron Hands. This one's not running an Iron Hands or a Pikachu, and start off swinging really early with those two, and then when they go down, Goldango can come in and start cleaning house. So we're running 3 of our minor air running Gimme Ghouls and 1 Chestaflage. I love the name of this attack. 3 Goldango EXs, 2 of said Joltik. You only need the 1 Jolting Charge to go off. You're rarely going to use a second one. 2 Iron Hands EX. We want him for the Amp You Very Much attack for 1 Lightning and 3 of any other energy. So it gets powered up off of 1 Joltik. You can do 120 to something on your opponent's side of the field. And you can do 120 to your opponent's active Pokemon. And if it's knocked out by damage from the attack, you take 1 more prize. Being able to have this out on your second attacking turn against slower decks like Gardevoir and Dragapult, when they run a lot of tech 1 prize Pokemon that you can turn into 2 prizes, is really good. Miraidon fills up your bench because we can go and search for our Joltiks, our Iron Hands, or our Pikachu. And if you really want to, you could Photon Blaster for a 220. I wouldn't suggest it. Iron Hands, Pikachu into Goldango is definitely your line of play. 1 Pikachu EX, we talked about in Terra Box. Resolute Heart prevents it from being knocked out in 1 shot. And then Topaz Bolt does a ton of damage. And it's actually a lot easier for you to get multiple of these off in this deck because you're attaching 4 energy from the Joltik. So you just have to attach 1 of the mental energies and then discard your extra grass and extra electric. You'll get 2 attacks off of this, which will probably get you 2 prizes. 4 prizes, I mean. 3 or 4 prizes. Bezendipity, Latias, we want free retreat. Bezendipity, if we fall behind, we get to draw cards. Joltik will almost always get KO'd, so you're going to get at least 1 solid flip the script. Latias gives all your basics free retreat. Genesect, like it does in Goldango, searches for your Goldangos. 4 Arvin, 3 Brock Scouting, 3 Boss's Orders. I think this is really strong. You're almost always going to want to KO like multiple things with this, so having this with the Pikachu, especially if you can get it going in the early game, the Pikachu is going to at least net you like 2 or 3 prizes. Maybe 4 if you're lucky, depending on how it works out. 1 Iono, 1 Turo Scenario, 4 Nest Ball, 3 Vessel, 3 Superior Energy, 3 Pokegear because we want to get into these as early as possible. 2 Buddy Buddy, 1 Prime Catcher, 2 Air Balloon, 1 Charm, 2 Lavencia. Really good cards all across the board. 4 Grass, 4 Lightning, 3 Metal. That is the top 16 lists. Obviously, we're not talking about the multiple different versions because they are all relatively the same. I really enjoyed this top 16. I think, obviously, Gardevoir and Dragapult are still 2 really strong decks. Gardevoir had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of the top 16 was Gardevoir. 1, 2, 3, 4 was Dragapult. So over half of your top 16 were literally the 2 best decks in the format. But there's also really good calls too. Like Joltik Box is a really good deck when it goes off because it is able to pump out that surprise damage early game. Ampu very much is able to take some of those Dragalax or Dreepies off the board before they become Dragapults, and you'll get 2 prizes out of them. Pure Gardevoir is still a really strong deck. 53 of them compared to the 29 Gardevoir Jellicents. Goldengo is always going to be a good pick because it can one-shot pretty much everything in one hit. You could even run Gravity Mountain in your Jolteons. Actually, that might not be a bad idea going forward. You know, Gravity Mountain is going to be a really, really good card. There's just a ton of potential in this top 16, especially as we come into Mega Evolution. But let me know what you guys are looking forward to in Mega Evolution. It comes out on Friday. What did you think about these top 16? Again, congrats to Liam Halliburton for going undefeated with Zoroark. A really good call with all the Gardevoir decks that were there. And then just really great ways of countering some of your much poorer matchups like Terrabox and Goldengo. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you're excited. This was the last regionals of the Scarlet and Violet era of the TCG. We're now into the Mega Evolution era of the TCG, so it's going to be really interesting to see how that shapes the meta. With obviously we still have Scarlet and Violet in the meta, but we are of course going into our Mega Evolution arc. Really interested to see what the future holds for this card game. I love Pokemon so much. Don't forget to tune in next week on Twitch TV, Arrows TCG. We are starting our TCG Nuzlocke to the top. 8 decks, they might change. I stopped doing the deck videos because they might change with Mega Evolution. But 8 decks going from the lowest rank that we can hit at the start of the season, 2 Masters. Is it going to happen, or am I going to lose all my decks? When a deck loses twice, it's out of selection process. It's going to be wild. I'm really excited. Thank you guys for liking the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Ding the notification bell if you want to be alerted whenever we post any of our cool content. And as always, friends, go out there, play some card games. They're just fun. Pokemon's for everyone. So I will see you when I see you. Have yourselves a great day, and bye.